All right. It's Wednesday evening. We're live. It is Wednesday from my basement. I am joined, as I always am, by my regular co-host, Racer Joe. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. And you, knowing the answer?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
We have one special guest on the screen and one special guest backstage who I'll put on here in just a moment. Curtis, how you doing, my friend? And you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Yeah.
There we go. Now I'm doing better.
Now, there you go.
Good.
Doing very good. Starting to warm up. Spring is in the air here in Nova Scotia.
Excellent. Okay, waiting backstage, a very special guest. Daryl is away on a school trip to Spain, so we have another guest host joining us for the very first time ever, all the way from the west coast of Canada. Jack, the Vinyl Martini. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm so good, Rob. How you guys doing? Hey, Curtis.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We got an all-Canadian panel tonight. How about that?
And we are coast to coast, too,
That's
right? So, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good.
Richard, how you doing, man? How's things down in Colorado? So, how's everybody doing? Everybody surviving? I mean, we'll keep politics out of this. It's a lot of doom and gloom these days. But aside from that, we all surviving? How's things out west, Jack? Is it nice and rainy in the BC area?
It's a little gray, but spring is coming. Got some blossoms. We got the cherry blossoms out on the trees, and yeah, it's getting better.
Good. Joe, your snow's melting in Saskatchewan, so that's a good sign.
It is melting. Yeah, snow's melting and roads are crap, but it's borderline warmish. And even when it's still like -1, -2, the sun has got a little bit of heat in it as well, which is always nice at this point. So you go outside when it is sunny and you get a little bit of that. So yeah, no complaints at all. We're, as I said to you off the air, we're closer to the end than the start. So that's always a nice thing. So
I enjoyed on, I don't know, Monday, I think it was. I drove to Tim Hortons with the windows down, my shorts on, the sun was out, and I had to roll up the rim in my hand. It doesn't get any more Canadian spring than that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So,
I've won a donut already.
There you go. I think I've won 2 donuts and 2 coffees and 10 cents off liters of gas. So there you go. Which, I mean, that doesn't, but I mean, I'm at Tim Hortons like 3 times a day. So
yeah.
My win ratio is not as high as it may seem to be. So Julie from Montreal, how you doing?
Nice to see you again.
Richard's saying it's 65 degrees and sunny today and it won't last. We're looking forward to a warm weekend up here. So Alex, how you doing, my friend? If I recall correctly, Alex is on the West Coast for work this week. I think he's in Seattle or on his way to Seattle. So hope your week's going well, man.
Yeah.
So anything new, anything exciting, anything, earth-shattering? Joe, tell everyone about how your big sale at the shop went on the weekend.
Yeah, we I know everybody in the comment section currently knows what was going on, but if you're watching this after the fact, we had a big collection that we bought a couple of months ago. I finally got it all ready and good to go out, so it all went out into the bins on Saturday, and people were lined up down the block. It was really good. It worked out really, really well, and everybody walked out with something. Some walked out with 5 or 6 or 7 somethings. But it went really, really well. And again, I think everybody found something. I didn't see anybody leave without, although it was crazy busy. So I was kind of ringing stuff in at the same time. There was 4 of us working, and we basically didn't stop for the first like 2.5, 3 hours or whatever. And I tried to talk to some folks as well along the way, but everybody had lots to choose from, and there's still a ton of really good stuff. I don't know exactly, but I'd say I put out 2,000, and we probably sold maybe, I don't know, 500 albums, maybe.
Wow.
yeah, on Saturday and then a bit on Monday, Tuesday, and I wasn't there today. I decided I'd rest and relax a little bit today. So there's still lots to choose from, lots of good stuff. Some of the big hitters, the big names. There was a few $100, $200, $300 records got bought, so there's not as much of that anymore. But there's still a little bit of that, and there's still tons of like Van Morrison. There's almost everything Van Morrison still. And there's, like I said to you earlier, there's Steve Winwood, and there's Saga, and there's Trooper, and there's a lot of everything. There's just not a lot of like the Beatles mono UKs got bought, stuff like that. So,
Sure.
But it was great. Yeah. And then everybody was super complimentary. It was partly obviously a sale for the store, but part of it as well was it was a little bit of a legacy of some folks that used to own an electronics shop, a hi-fi shop here in Regina for a long time. Harry was the gentleman's name. Actually, his name was Vern, but they called him Harry because he used to work at another place before he went out on his own. And there was a Tom and a Dick, so it just became that's the story. So his real name was Vern, and his wife's name was Pat. So Harry passed, unfortunately, a couple years ago, and Pat, it just came time for her to not have the collection anymore. She didn't enjoy it. She, kind of got sad by going down into the basement and seeing it because that's what they used to do. So she entrusted us. So it was a little bit of
Nice.
remembering of Pat and Harry. Pat's still with us, thankfully. And then obviously a sale as well. So yeah, it went really, really well. Really well.
Well, I saw the couple little videos you posted on social media and it looked busy, so that's good, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, that'll probably make his wife feel nice that that it was it was a bit of an event.
Oh yeah, and like I said, there was people were talking and telling stories and stuff like that. It was kind of nice too because we got you've seen the pictures, but we've got these bins and they kind of go around the perimeter of one of the rooms, and every bin had at least one person or two people in front of it, at least for the first hour. But it was kind of nice because people were, hey, if you see Dire Straits, let me know because I'm looking. I can't get to all the bins. I'm over here. There isn't any in this bin, but if you see it, and then you hope that the person that finds the Dire Straits didn't want it as well. So there was lots of that going on. Hey, man, here it is, and stuff like that. So it was awesome. You get a bunch of record people together. It's always a pretty good time, and friendly. It's still a little bit of a battle to get to those boxes or those bins by everybody, but for the most part, elbows were not up. Because it was all Canadian, so elbows were not up. So
we reserve our elbows for other things, and we'll leave it at that.
That's right.
Well, that's good. Sorry to hear about the death in your family, Alex. My condolences, my friend. That's never a pleasant thing to deal with. And Tim's here. Welcome, Tim. And Morton, how you doing, sir? So tonight, since Daryl's away, and Joe and I are here, we are collaborating with Jack and Curtis. So we thought the topic for tonight, we would talk about duets, collaborations, supergroups, people that did stuff together musically is what we're chatting about tonight. And, I thought at first, this will be relatively easy. And then when I went to pull my records, I was surprised it was exponentially easier than I thought. I pulled more records than I'm probably going to show tonight. I was really shocked how many, be it duets on an album or collaborative albums or whatever, I have a hell of a lot more of this stuff than I thought I did. So I don't know about you guys. Did you find it a fairly easy topic?
Came pretty quickly.
It was tough at first, Rob. It was a little bit than I thought, but then I started to think just a little more generically about what a collaboration is. And it's a lot easier that way because you thinking about two artists that have their picture on the album. That's a little more difficult, but there's lots of collaborations out there.
Sure.
Definitely easier as I thought about it.
Well, that's good. We leave it very wide open for interpretation. So
good.
I got a ton here. So that we don't go really long like we did last week, let's Alex, if you hang on a little bit, my friend, I'll show that first just for you. I was hoping you'd be watching tonight because, yes, there's some Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock coming up real soon. I'll show it first. So we'll jump right into it. Jack, since this is your very first experience. You want to go first? You good with that?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. You are up, sir.
Pick the Blues album, the Junior Wells album. And he is playing with, this is just an all-star cast here. Otis Spann, Buddy Guy, Louis Myers, and Fred Below on drums. And it is called Southside Blues Jam on Delmark. And Buddy Guy and Junior Wells used to play together, used to tour together all the time. They've done a couple of collaborations. They're just fantastic.
Nice.
You probably could have done, or any of us, if we had the amount of it, you probably could do the whole thing could be of jazz, because there were a lot of, I guess, collaborations. I mean, there were certain guys that played with a lot of guys on a regular basis. But then, there was guys that jumped around, and they were this guy and then they were that guy. So you probably could have pulled that off quite easily if you chose to do this whole evening with just jazz collaborations, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Who's up next?
Curtis.
Okay. I'm going to start us off with a 2-for-1.
Give her.
All right.
2 collabs and 1 album. How's that? And I've got Stevie Nicks, Belladonna.
Oh, sure. Steal my record, man.
Oh, sorry.
There might be some overlap. Yeah.
Am I dragging your heart around here, Rob? I'm sorry.
You are.
Yeah, so we get the 2 collabs. I think there's one on each side, actually.
Yes, sir.
The first one I'll mention is Leather and Lace, which she actually wrote, according to my extensive 2-minute Google search. She wrote for Wailing Jennings. And it was a love song, I guess. And Wailing Jennings' wife was a musician as well. I wasn't aware of that. So it's kind of about the music industry. They're kind of both in that music industry. But then they split up, and so she decided to keep the song, and she got Don Henley from the Eagles, who was there you go, one of her on again, off again romantic partners, to collab on that. And then the second one is Stop Dragging My Heart Around with Tom Petty, which is of the 2, the one I prefer. It's probably
I'm with you on that.
The highlight of this album for me, actually, would be that tune. And I guess Tom Petty wrote that and gave it to her. And I think the story goes like she's not used to doing a lot of other people's music, so she was a little hesitant to do his song, and kind of, I don't know if she convinced him to join in. I think they were rehearsing it or something, and then convinced him to join in. So yeah, Belladonna and Leather and Lace and Stop Dragging My Heart Around, a 2-for.
Awesome. So she wrote that for Waylon and I assume Jesse Coulter, because that was his wife that I know he used to sing with. I don't know if there was another wife that he used to sing with, but you said she wrote that, and then it was going to be for them to do, but they didn't want, or whatever, they broke up.
That's right. That's what my extensive research tells me.
Yeah. That would have been, I'm trying to think of how those 2 would have done that. I think it would have been a lot different because, the Don Henley factors in there a little bit, I think, but it would have been interesting to see. Maybe there's a version of it out there somewhere, but I guess if they were already broken up, there's probably not a version of it there anywhere. So yeah, cool. That's awesome.
And I think, without me doing any research or pulling out the liner notes, but I mean, you could take the collaboration on that a step further, because most of the Heartbreakers are on this record.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the other Eagles is on there, and I want to say it's Tim Schmidt, I think, is on there, but I could be wrong. But most of the Heartbreakers and another one of the Eagles. So even more collaborative than just that. So
yeah.
This was her debut, her first solo effort, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was her first, but definitely her most critically acclaimed.
Okay.
I love it. Great record. I've actually got this is the Record Store Day version, and it has an entire second disc that's got a bunch of bonus and alternate takes and unreleased songs and whatever. So highlight for me on this, Edge of 17. That's just a wicked song.
Okay.
It's a gooder.
What's Alex asking here? Do you buy the story that the Fleetwood Mac song Sarah is about the aborted would-be daughter of Stevie and Dawn? I had not heard that, so quite possible.
Yeah, that's not one that I heard.
Be surprised.
Yeah.
Not be surprised. Joe, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. And I can even stick with Stevie Nicks, but I'm going to stick with Stevie Nicks because she's the special guest on a couple. Least notably, I think, although maybe not, but I'll do them both anyway, is Walter Egan and the song Magnet and Steel. Stevie Nicks sings back up on that one. It's not a duet per se, so a lot of what I'm going to go with are the collaborations that you may or may not know that they're there because they're not specifically a duet. But she is listed on here as actually produced by Lindsey Buckingham, and then Walter Egan is the singer, the main singer, and Stevie sings back up on it. And then the other one that I was only, I don't know, maybe last year days old when I realized that Kenny Loggins, Stevie Nicks is also on the Kenny Loggins song, Whenever I Call Your Name. It's Stevie Nicks in the background. And if you listen to it, now that you know, if you didn't know before, you'll hear it because she's fairly distinctive. And this would have been before Fleetwood Mac, and it might have been around the time of, I put it away, the Buckingham Nicks album or whatever. I don't know if Lindsey had anything to do with this one, but Stevie is on Whenever I Call You a Friend. I said Whenever I Call Your Name. Whenever I Call You a Friend. Stevie Nicks is on there. You can know Kenny starts it, and then Stevie joins in. So there you go. There's a twofer of Stevie Nicks. We'll continue on. I don't know. It's not the rule, but that was in the pile, so I thought, what the heck, we'll go with that. So she just has a phenomenal voice. She's probably on other stuff that we don't know about too, and because until they got into Fleetwood Mac, I'm sure they were probably kind of putting their feelers out there in a lot of different places, especially with that Buckingham Nicks album, which we have 2 for sale at the store, by the way. 2, not 1, but 2. Anyway.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll ask you guys. Do I do Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow for Alex, or do I continue on with the Stevie Nicks theme?
Go with Stevie Nicks. Go keep the Stevie Nicks. Go. That's my vote. If I'm voting, doesn't matter. You know.
I got you back. Let's do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Alex, you got to wait one more turn then to see Kid Rock. I'm sorry. Okay. So.
Hey, look.
Buckingham Nicks. I guess technically not a collaboration because they were not solo artists at the time. This was their band. This was Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham before they joined Fleetwood Mac. And in fact, the song Crystal appears on here before it was recorded by Fleetwood Mac. So collaboration, not really. But one thing I want to show, this is just, I'm throwing 3 here because it's all related, and I can do that because I'm hosting. So
He's in control.
I found this. This is called Buckingham Nicks Never Going Back Again. This is a live FM radio broadcast of a concert that Buckingham Nicks did when they were still Buckingham Nicks. I didn't know that there were any of those out there, and it sounds great. So it's a lot of what's on the Buckingham Nicks album performed live, and I love live records, so very cool. Anyway, this next one is a collaboration, and this connects. So that was Buckingham Nicks. This is Buckingham McVie. So Lindsey Buckingham did a collaboration with Christine McVie, obviously both members of Fleetwood Mac. And I would say if you're a Fleetwood Mac fan, you must own this record, and here's why. Although this is sold as a Buckingham McVie album, this is actually the last Fleetwood Mac album because the backing band for these two, it's these two plus John McVie and Mick Fleetwood.
Yeah.
So the last official Fleetwood Mac album is Say You Will, which is Lindsey, John, Mick, and Stevie without Christine. That's considered a Fleetwood Mac record. This is that lineup with Christine, but without Stevie. So this should have been a Fleetwood Mac album too. So it's these two collaborating, but technically it's a Fleetwood Mac record. Is it as good as a Fleetwood Mac record? Yes, but it really misses the Stevie component. So take that for whatever you will. So Buckingham Nicks and Buckingham McVie. Two
Awesome.
collaborations.
Jack, you said something, but I don't think Rob heard you.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just talking about that second Buckingham Nicks record you're talking about. I think that Stevie probably likes that cover a lot more than the original.
The one where you can see her boobs?
She hated that cover. She was
kind
of forced to do that photo shoot.
Yeah, this one's a little bit better. This is this was done in let's see here. The 28th of January, 1975, from the Morgan Auditorium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Cool.
And it's 13 songs. And there's some stuff, again, it has, when you can't get this anywhere else, it has the original Buckingham Nicks version of Rhiannon, which is very cool, and the Buckingham Nicks version of Monday Morning and Never Going Back Again. So stuff that would eventually become Fleetwood Mac songs. So this is really good.
Nice.
Excuse me, fellas. I got to put the dog out. Give me a moment here.
All right. Sounds good. I'll get caught up on a few comments here. Let's see. Yes, JWG Moore is just confirming it. Belladonna was Stevie Nicks' solo debut. So there you go.
There you go.
Morton's asking, was one of Mudcrutch members a brother of the Eagles' Bernie Leadon? I don't know. I've been looking for those Mudcrutch albums for a while, and I could order them off Amazon, but I kind of like to find it in the wild. So
if Sam's still here, he would probably know the answer to
Sam
that.
would know.
Yeah,
100%. Let's see here. Stevie Nicks sings on Jon Stewart's song "Gold." Okay.
Yep. When the lights go down in that one, and I knew that, and but I forgot to. I've got it. It's a good album. Jon Stewart is in a lot of other things as well. He was one of those guys, and another kind of musician that was around at the time that was looking for a place to be. Had that one hit, and yeah.
There you go. Sam's confirming. Yes, it's Tom Leadon. I didn't know that, so I learned something tonight. Even though I try not to, I learned something.
That's right.
Jason, how you doing, sir?
JJ.
I'm hosting a live stream. Don't be texting me any shit that's going to make me laugh like you did last week.
Yeah.
Always trying to make me crack up here.
Man, we got a lot of Canada covered. We need an Alberta and a Manitoba, and
We have everybody there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trevor, how you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Let's see here. Morton's asking, are there any live albums of Fleetwood Mac with Mike Campbell and Neil Finn? No, I really wish there was, because that's the only lineup of Fleetwood Mac that there isn't anything available. So that would be nice. I wish they would, but I don't know. We'll see. Doesn't sound like there's going to be anything coming. Okay, let's go around again. Jack, you're up.
Well, Joe, talking about jazz, you're right, because I could have pulled out 50, but I only pulled out one jazz record. This is Duke and John Coltrane collaborating together. John Coltrane gets a lot of the airtime on the VC. Duke Ellington, never. And that's a shame, because he's a biggie. I love Duke Ellington. Fantastic.
He, like at the shop, there's always Duke Ellington records. It's like if you've watched before, it's like when we talk about Linda Ronstadt. It's such good stuff, but there always seem to be an abundance of them around, and it's the same thing with Duke Ellington, which is odd, because you're right. I enjoy listening to it, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to make that point.
He just doesn't have the cool factor, because he was recording in the 30s and the 40s, and he's had such a long career, and he's big band pianist and arranger, and just remarkable. Anything you pick up Duke Ellington is worth it, and it's always cheap. So that's got it's got that going for it.
Agreed. Very good.
And it's on impulse. Anything on impulse that's cheap, you just grab it.
Yeah.
Great label.
I've got those nice spines too. If you get enough of them, it looks kind of cool, right? They've all got the nice, nice spines on the side there. Yeah.
The orange. Yeah. Or you can't see it on the. Can't see it there very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Curtis, what's up?
Okay. That's a good advice there, Jack. I'm never sure where to start with some of these jazz artists, so that's good advice. Here's another artist I think that you probably have in your stacks because it's just an artist who's kind of collaborated, worked with everyone over the years. And so this is some, I guess, early-ish stuff. And I guess I'm taking collaboration kind of flexibly here.
That's okay.
It's kind of like it's a group he's part of, and then he's not part of the group anymore. And then he's with another group, and then he's not part of the group anymore. So that's kind of my collaboration here. I'm talking about Clapton. And here, Clapton, this is just a compilation of his early blues stuff. So here he's with John Mayall. He does some tunes on here with Otis Spann and Champion Jack Dupree. Some of it's listed as John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and some of it's just Clapton and Mayall. So it's kind of that era of Clapton. Great little compilation that I listen to frequently. So Clapton. He couldn't keep a band together, I guess, So
yeah.
All he could do was an album or two, and then off he went. So.
It's probably because he's such a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But I mean, when it comes to collaboration, is there anyone that's collaborated with more people? I mean, he's got that stuff. He's Cream, Yardbirds, Derek and the Dominoes, Dwayne Allman's on that. One of his soul albums, almost all of the band is on there. He did that album with B.B. King. I mean, shit, the guy's collaborated with everybody. So
yeah, we could go all night with just Clapton collabs.
We could.
Yeah, we could probably. Yeah, exactly. So
we could.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
Up next, eh?
You're up
I'm
next.
going to. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go in honor of our buddy who is not here this evening. I'm going to go with a little Glass Tiger and Bryan Adams. I wasn't sure if you were going to go there or not, but I wanted to get this one in for Daryl because he's not here tonight. And part of the collaborations and the special guests is because we've got two special guests. So that's kind of why I thought about this one tonight. But yes, Bryan Adams is on this one, wrote it and sings on it. Don't Forget Me. He doesn't do the backup until the second time around, though. It's not him until the second time around. And he's not in it a whole bunch when he wrote it. But yeah, there you go. A little Glass Tiger. So, Daryl, when you watch this back, if you watch it back, Glass Tiger still made an appearance for you, buddy. There you go.
I wasn't going to go Glass Tiger, but Joe, I promise you, for you, there is some Bryan Adams on the horizon.
That's fair. That's
every
okay.
week, man, just for you, because I know you're such a big fan.
Yes, I saw your video and a little shout out to me. So,
all right, Alex. I hope you're still watching because this is for you, man. Because you requested it. Because I know he's a huge fan. And if anyone watched my Alex's Prague tag from last year, you should go watch it. Let's leave it at that. Here's a great collaboration. Speaking of dickheads and wankers, Kid Rock.
yeah.
Off this album, Cocky from, I don't know, 2000 and who the hell cares? I don't know when this came out. Doesn't really matter. He did his duet with Sheryl Crow. Picture. Love it, hate it. I don't know, whatever. I don't mind the song. More for Sheryl Crow than Kid Rock. I don't mind Kid Rock, to be quite honest. So I think he's an asshole in real life, I guess, but some of his stuff's listenable. So I have this album only for the song Picture. So, there you go. So that's part one, because Alex asked, did Kid Rock do any collaborations, plural, with Sheryl Crow? That is one of two collaborations he did with Sheryl Crow, believe it or not. The other one, and yes, I own two Kid Rock albums. For Born Free, she collaborated with him on a song called Collide, which also has Bob Seger on piano. So Yeah. Zach Brown and Martina McBride are also on this record as well. This actually isn't this. I bought this kind of on a whim. It's kind of his attempt to do Southern rock, and it's it's okay. It's better than all his other shit. So anyway, 2 Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow collaborations. Alex, I hope you're watching to see that part. So there you
go. Rob, if it makes you feel any better, I have that Kid Rock album as well, and I also don't completely hate the guy. The guy's an idiot, but I don't completely hate his music, and he was pretty good. He was fun live. So
exactly, yes,
yeah.
It's one of those. I don't know musically if there's much merit, but sometimes you can just enjoy something even though it's not great musically.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So I guess that would fall under guilty musical pleasure. So
agreed. Yeah.
As Sam points out, he's America's finest. Yeah, he's America's finest something, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're quite sure what.
Let's see here. Hold on here. I bet I know what Bryan Adams collab Rob will show. You might not, because there's more than one. Let's see here. Glass Tiger and Rod Stewart sang together. I did not know that. The song My Town. Didn't know it.
Yeah. This is the only Glass Tiger album that I have is this one. All right. But JWG coming up with the other ones that we've forgotten along the way. But it's got that little bit of Scottish lilt to it a little bit, I suppose, that Glass Tiger song, and Rod's on there.
I would not consider myself a Glass Tiger aficionado, so I wouldn't know that.
No, me either.
They were
I like Rod Stewart though. But
what's that, Jack?
They were Scottish, weren't they? Or some of the members of the band were Scottish. I think
they're from Hamilton, but I don't know if that's. I think one of them might have been Scottish.
I think there was some Scottish immigrants in the band. Actually.
Could be.
I think so.
Could be. Richard's saying that crazy Kid Rock is a busy dude. Yeah, hanging out with little Donnie Bone Spurs down in Florida. Brian has a bunch. Yes, Brian does have a bunch. But you'll see what I show eventually. So stay tuned, Sam. I know you're on the edge of your seat because everyone wants to see Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
I feel like my picks are vastly inferior. Jack's pulling out this deep jazz, and I'm showing fucking Kid Rock. I feel like an idiot. But what are you going to do?
Wait till I show my country albums, Rob.
All right. We're going to segue to Jack now. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Dazzle us, Jack.
Well, I'm going to show something a little bit different. You know, if anybody's watched my channel, you know I go on and on about the drive-by truckers all the time. Well, this is a 2025 release, and that's unusual for me to buy a new record. And this is a guy called Patterson Hood. He is the chief songwriter for the Drive-By Truckers. This is his 4th solo record. It is a fantastic record, and he does collaborations with Watachi and Lydia Lovelace. And I've seen Lydia Lovelace open for the Drive-By Truckers. I've been waiting for this solo record with Patterson for a long time, and such a great artist. He's anybody an old 97s fan?
Absolutely.
They tour together all the time, the old 97s and the Drive-By Truckers.
Yeah.
And this is a fantastic record. Very melancholy. There's only one rocker on side 2, the Van Velt Parties, with Wednesday. So he's actually recording with Wednesday. I don't know who Wednesday is, but fantastic record, and some great collaborations on here. What a cover.
I agree. Yeah. What a disturbing cover that is. Good Lord.
It is. And the Drive-By Truckers have some of the best covers going out there. So happy to pick this up. This was, I've been waiting for this since he announced it in January, I think. So fantastic record.
All right.
His dad is David Hood, who is part of the Muscle Shoals rhythm section. He's been a session player since the 60s. So he comes by his musical talents, honestly.
I would say. Sam wants to know, did I ever get that Dal Shannon? Not yet, Sam. I'm still looking for it. Okay. Curtis.
Okay. I want to reach for it here. All right. I'm going to take us back to the 80s when the rock ballad was king. and especially if you had a duet, right? A male-female duet, and big hair, big tunes, right? And we're gonna go with a Lover Boy and Hearse.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Nice.
And off of this soundtrack, I think made for the soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken, the Footloose soundtrack. We're talking about Almost Paradise.
Yes, sir.
Almost Paradise. So that's what's his Lover Boy, Mark Reno, right? And then
Mike
Reno.
Mike Reno. Thank you. And Ann Wilson from Hearst doing that one. So when I think duets, that was one that popped into my mind. Yeah. So some of those 80s duets, you're talking about Bryan Adams, some of those pop right into mind when you mentioned this.
I hope somebody shows some Kenny and Dolly, or this discussion's going to be a bust.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Footloose.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. Yeah, that's where I thought when you said big hair and big voices, and that is a pretty good ballad between those two, Ozzy and Lita as well. And damn it, I forgot that one too. I went a little differently. I went more. Maybe you don't know that they're on the albums than that, but
okay,
yeah, that Mike Reno one, yeah, that, and they played the hell out of that song when it was out. That whole soundtrack, they played the hell out of that soundtrack because it was good.
Good one. To that end, Joe, it's your turn.
It is. Richard commented Sammy Hagar, and that's a good point, but I don't know if I went there. I can't remember. There's a whole bunch down here beside me. So I'm going to go with a big gun next, though, because there are 4 different collaborations on here. And I listened to this today, and I'm not rubbing this in your face, Rob, but swear to God, you have got to go and get Robbie Robertson.
I know. Fuck, I know.
Go and get Robbie Robertson.
I know.
So I don't see it often, but it's got to be out there. And I even looked to see if there was a reissue through Isotope, who we buy stuff from, and there isn't. So, but you do have to find it because
I know.
A, it's a fantastic album. B, it's Robbie Robertson. C, it's got, and I've talked about them before a lot. The Bodines are on here. I like the Bodines. I know that Richard is familiar with, and I think maybe Alex is as well. And they're good on their own. But it's also got Peter Gabriel on here as well. He's on a couple of the tracks, and he even plays a little bit and sings some backup. There is, what's her name? I have it written down. I have my cheat sheet because I can't remember. Maria McKee from Lone Justice, who I listened to one of theirs the other day, and that's some really good stuff too. But she's on here. And then, of course, U2 is on here. And it's all of U2. They play the whole song. It's Clayton. It's everybody. And Bono sings with them and that. So, yeah, I mean, again, not to say you have to go and buy an album, but you have to go and buy this album because we just keep talking about it. And I give you this one, but it just doesn't come up that often. But I keep looking for you for one.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
find this for Rob. Find Rob this album.
I've only ever seen it once, and it was at the record show I was at in the fall with Jeff from Speaker's Corner. Yeah. And I'd already spent my entire budget, and I was on my way out the door. I'm like, God damn it. Had I not seen that earlier in the show, I would have bought it. So,
yeah. Hudson's on there too. And I there's a couple of guys from the band. It is a very collaborative album. It's certainly, I think, the most collaborative of the ones that I've got picked anyway. So
cool.
Yeah.
Emma, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, Emma.
Ryan is saying the Mississauga Record Fair April 30th would be a good one. I know. I have missed that show for the last 2 years, but I got to get there this year. Tim says he's got one, so we'll talk afterwards, Tim. We'll work something out.
And on top of all of the things that I said, it's just a killer. It's a very, very good album as well, I think. Anyway, I mean, I think others agree.
Yeah,
it's just eluded. Right?
It's eluded me. That's all it is. Yeah. It's not that it's extremely rare, but you just don't see it that often. So
yeah.
Whatever. I guess that makes it my turn. So since Joe showed Robbie Robertson, I should show the band, right?
Sure.
Why not? Okay. Let's make myself of substantial size here. band. They've collaborated with everybody. But I'm going to go the obvious way. Because why not? I mean, the first collaboration they ever did on record, really, was the Basement Tapes with Bob Dylan. But yeah, I guess you could argue before that they were Ronnie Hawkins' backup band. So, you could pick up a Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks record, and some of these guys are on it. But we're going to go with this. Dylan and the band, they rented a house in Woodstock, New York after Dylan's motorcycle accident. And they jammed in the basement, and ultimately they recorded, and it became this album. I'm reluctant to say great album, and I know if Sam's watching, he's going to be spitting at the screen already. I can't stand Bob Dylan. It sounds like someone pissing out buckshot, but I just can't stand him, but I love the band. So there's this, and, Dylan's album Planet Waves is by Bob Dylan and the band. There's also this, Bob Dylan and the band. What's it called? Before the Flood. Before the Flood. It's a live concert from, 74, I think, when Dylan was on tour with them when he went electric. So lots of Bob Dylan and the band collaborations, and there are more than just that. And Sam's throwing rocks at his computer screen now. Sorry, Sam. I don't know what to tell you.
What I would like to see is every time you reference that Bob Dylan cannot sing, I would like a different euphemism if you could, because we changed it up today. So that was good. Changed. I know. I caught
and that. That was just on the fly. Like I just
Yeah. Excellent.
I'll try and have something fresh every time because you know.
And I thought you were going to go, unless it's coming still. I thought you were going to go, there's another one that Bob Dylan, it's more the band than it is Bob Dylan. I thought you might go with that too, but.
No, I figured I would do these two, but I could have gone that way. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the last waltz is what I meant. I wasn't going to say it because I wasn't sure if you were going there.
I could have gone that way. Could have also gone music from Big Pink because he wrote some stuff on there. There's many ways. And I think the band's on a couple other Dylan albums as well. But like we've talked about Dylan for 5 minutes longer tonight than we need to. So we should just move on. Too much Bob Dylan is not good for you.
We had four copies of The Last Waltz, and all four of them sold on Saturday. So
that's such a great album.
Such a good album. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
You could have a whole show on the collaborations just from The Last Waltz. Absolutely. But I figured that was too easy, but even this is too easy. So yes, Cahoots says Van Morrison. Sam, it's not a personal affront to you. I love you like a brother. Dylan, I don't. So we'll
just move on.
We'll move on. Jack's going to show us something cool, probably some Delta blues or some jazz or some who knows.
No, I'm going to show you some Americana for Sam.
Ooh, Sam will get excited.
It's a soundtrack, the movie Songwriter, and it's Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. Chris Christopherson. Again, if you don't like Bob Dylan, you probably don't like Chris's voice either. But
I do like Chris Christopherson, and I've seen him live.
Well, yeah, he's fantastic, and of course Willie Nelson is so legendary. I've got a bunch of Willie Nelson stuff, so yeah, and I've never seen this movie, but I love Chris and I love Willie. And when I saw this, it was priced at $10, and a really clean copy, so I had to pick that up. But Willie's getting up there. Is Willie in his 90s, isn't he? 92?
Yeah, something.
Yeah. So mark my words, when he hopefully he lasts a long, long time, but when he kicks the bucket, you're going to see those Willie records just shoot up in price, even though he's probably recorded over 100 records.
Yeah. Well, he's got a bunch, and then that's another artist that certainly has a lot of collaborations and wrote songs for people. Like there's a really good one with him and Levon Helm as well, and there's another one with what's his name? Anyway, I'll think about it. But yeah, Willie was on a lot of albums as well of other people. So Leon Russell, that's who I meant.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam says Chris has a far worse voice than Bob. That may be true, but Chris's voice doesn't make me want to harm myself. So, but Jack makes a good point, and you know we've titled this Supergroups, and we haven't shown any Supergroups yet. I have a couple coming up. But speaking of Christopherson and Willie Nelson, I have forever been on the hunt for I think they did 2 albums, maybe 3, The Highwaymen. I've been on the lookout for those forever and never, ever, ever seen them. I could buy them on eBay. They're like $30, but I'd prefer to just find them at a local shop rather than pay shipping.
Runs across one, they just go. It's like one of those. Yeah, I'm going to take that. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you mention it, I think I have it, but I don't. I don't know if I did, and if I did, why don't I still? So, but yeah, I don't have that one. And yeah, just a great album. But I swore I had it, unless it's not cataloged and it's in the bin somewhere. So maybe I'll go one day and just go diving for it.
Just start at the first one and go all the way through your records.
All the way through, yeah.
and put a camera in your room and just live stream that, and we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah. Joe searches for the Highwaymen. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I've had to do that before.
Yeah.
And my collection's not even that big, and I had to do that.
What do you have, Joe? 54 bins? Is that what you told us the other week?
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. No, I think it was only 51. I think.
Oh wow, that makes a big difference then.
Yeah, cubicles, not bins, because 51 bins would be insanity. But
sure.
But yeah. Anyway, sure. Yeah.
All right. Curtis, right?
Yes, sir.
All
He's
right.
my dog here. He's normally pretty chill. I don't know what is going on tonight. Anyway.
Well, he knows he's in the room with some famous YouTubers.
Well,
He's collaborating with you.
Providing some ambiance.
There you go. All right, I'm taking it back to the blues, and I'm gonna do a twofer here because they're kind of related, I'm gonna start off with Muddy Waters, Fathers and Sons.
Nice.
And so this is what year was this? The end of the 60s? I think it's 69, I think. So where Muddy, he did his Electric album, got some kind of pushback from the blues fans, tried to get back to kind of some real more bluesy kind of stuff away from the psychedelic stuff, and paired up with I guess the younger generation, right? The Fathers and Sons, Bloomfield, Paul Bloomfield and Mike Butterfield. Mike Bloomfield and Paul Butterfield. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Who were young lads in the Chicago scene at the time, but part of that kind of that chess scene, I guess, that was emerging. Again, all this is just from the liner notes that they give. Great liner notes, by the way, with these. This is the classic series. This was I got a subscription for my birthday, so this was one of the ones I picked up from my wife. But yeah, great booklets. So lots of history in there. And so the other one I'll show. So this kind of kicked off a series, I guess, of, I think Rob, you already mentioned one earlier, where a lot of the chess guys went to the UK and collaborated with some of the white musicians in the UK. So Howlin' Wolf did a session, I think, with Clapton and those lost. Who else? Howlin' Wolf one. There's a few of them anyway. Now this isn't chess, but this is B.B. King in London, and B.B. is doing some collaboration, most notably with Ringo. Ringo Starr is on drums here with this one. I said it wasn't chess. Who was it? Probe. Probe would be, I don't know who Probe. Anyway, yeah. So that's the other one. So there's a few of those kind of blues guys with the second generation, the white guys, the white artists who were kind of taking up the mantle of the blues at that time. So. I'm
going to show something out of turn. You mentioned the black blues guys going over to England and doing stuff with the white blues guys in England. Here's the flip side of that. Some white blues guys in England going to Chicago and doing some blues with some black Chicago blues musicians.
Oh, nice.
So kind of the mirror of that. So it's Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac with Otis Spawn, Willie Dixon, Shaky Horton, J.T. Brown, Guitar Buddy, Honey Boy Edwards, S.P. Lear. I don't know who the hell any of those people are, but Emma knows what we're talking about. So the flip side of what you were just talking about. So another great collaborative record that's kind of in the vein of what you're saying. So
nice.
Yes. All right. I butted in line. Sorry, Joe.
That's okay. That's all right.
Call the manager.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to lodge a formal complaint, please. All right. Up next is most of the guitar work on this album was done by Nile Rodgers because he produced it. But, and I think this is fairly well known, but on lead guitar on the track Let's Dance is Stevie Ray Vaughan, which when you think about it, doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense other than he was an unbelievably good guitar player. I guess what I meant more was that's not a combination you think of Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing. Speaking of blues guys, but yeah, he's on the album a little bit more, but he is specifically the lead guitar player on Let's Dance, if I remember correctly. And I think he toured. Did he play? Jack, you're shaking your head. Did he play on that tour as well, Stevie Ray Vaughan?
I think he might have. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the case as well. So my wife, she's seen a lot of concerts. I've seen a lot of concerts. This is one that she has on me, but it wasn't this tour. It was the Glass Spider tour that she saw. So, but yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan playing guitar for David Bowie doesn't make a lot of sense, ton of sense, but that's what it was. And again, Nile Rodgers is on there a lot too, so you could call that a collaboration. He produced it and was a big part of it. But there's another guy that's probably touched a lot of different albums that we may or may not know about as well, because he's just one of those guys that always seemed to be around, and I think probably got a lot of love from a lot of people as well, and got used as a producer, guitar player, and just an all-around, let's bring Niles Rodgers around a little bit to be part of this, I think. So
it's not that surprising, Joe, because he was David Bowie was into Plastic Soul, like his Young Americans time, and he's a big soul and blues lover.
Yeah.
He wasn't, to my understanding, he wasn't a big controlling guy in the studio. He just kind of let people come in and do their thing. He's not going to tell you how to play your part.
Yeah.
He'll pick and choose which parts he likes, but he's not going to tell you exactly what he wants to hear. So
that's awesome. Yeah, he's gonna come up again later on as well. David is anyway, but yeah, I can imagine that was a fairly interesting studio from any album of his. I think probably would have been an interesting studio to have been a part of. So
interesting choice as a producer for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So there you go. Rob, you're muted.
I guess it makes it my turn, and I'm woefully unprepared. But let's do this because we haven't talked supergroups yet. So I'll show a supergroup.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna make myself large first of all. There we go. I'm gonna make the argument that this is the greatest supergroup there ever was.
Yeah.
Traveling Wilburys. Right.
I was gonna say, yeah, the superest group.
The superest of the supergroups.
Yeah.
I mean, was there even the concept of a supergroup before this? I think the phrase was kind of coined with these guys, but you got Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, George Harrison, and Jeff Lynne. I mean,
Blind Faith.
Fair. But were they called a supergroup at the time?
Yeah, they were.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm far too young to have been around then.
Yeah,
so.
that's okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
pardon my ignorance. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I mean, a great supergroup. Did a second album after Roy passed away. Both of them are incredible. I've got Volume 3 over there as well. Volume 3, by the way, folks, is the second album. Some people get screwed up and go, "Where's Volume 2?" There isn't one. So started off as a project that George had a song, Handle with Care. And I think Bob went to help him on it, and it snowballed into what it is. So
Yeah, well, there's probably 2 or 3 or 4 albums from that time period, like Cloud 9 and everything else, where you could probably find any couple or 3 of those guys on each other's albums as well. Like George, for sure was on one of the songs from Full Moon Fever. I can't remember which one.
And I think Bob was on that record, and I think Roy did one song on that record too. So
yeah.
LA is a small town.
Yeah,
It's a really small town.
Absolutely. JWG Moore, Eddie Van Halen plays lead guitar on Michael Jackson's Beat It. Yep.
There you go.
Do any of us own Michael Jackson? Curtis might own some Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's in the stack here.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Well, let's stay tuned then.
There's 2 Michael Jackson collaborations though that might come up possibly, right? So
That's not Michael Jackson.
Both on that album.
I bought it as a collection, Rob.
there you go. Good.
I can do that,
Huh.
yeah.
I wouldn't have figured that. Cool.
I have
So
I have Thriller. I think I have Thriller and Bad. I can't remember. Anyway,
I have none, and I have to confess, the wife has Thriller. And I put it, like, I know the song Thriller, and I put it on to listen to figure out what the fuss was, and I just went, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Off the Wall is my favorite. It's got more of a it's got a bit of a disco-y feel, but it's got a bit more soul to it, I think.
There you go.
yeah, we could have gone with actors as well collaborating on albums, and Vincent Price would have came up on both Michael Jackson and what's the other one that Vincent's on? Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. He's in there a little bit as well. So yeah. Anyway, I digress.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Well,
You're
I'm going to go back to Curtis's point here because he was talking about those when Muddy Waters went to London.
There you go.
The London sessions, right? And these aren't my favorite blues records because I like, the previous record I showed, the Buddy Guy record and the Junior Wells record. So I like something a little more original, but I mean, what a lineup on here. Muddy Waters goes to tour England. They set up a nice session for him, and they've got Rory Gallagher on guitar. If anybody's a Rory Gallagher fan, Kerry Bell, who is a Chicago harp player, he's a black guy. He's known Muddy forever. He's on here. Kerry Bell just is outstanding. Steve Winwood's on here. Mitch Mitchell is playing drums. Now, come on, like Mitch Mitchell and Muddy Waters don't really go together, but that's, I guess, a precursor to the Electric album. Who else is on here? Ernie, Joe Newman is on here, and the big horn section. So it's kind of one of the albums that started that ball rolling because any English blues player or any blues rock player would just kill to play in a session with Muddy Waters because he's the king, right? So that's on Chess Records. There you go. So that started the ball rolling. That was before Fathers and Sons, Curtis.
It was it? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what the date is on here. I'm always get confused. 1972. So,
I love that album cover too. That's awesome. It's a great cover.
Yeah, that whole series has kind of those animated covers or sketch covers, which are really cool.
Yeah, Chess was known for their covers, not.
Okay. Curtis.
All right. I'm going to take it to the late 1900s here, as the kids say. We're going to 1998 with a quick detour to 1999. It was kind of a comeback year for this fella, Santana. And this has got loads of collabs on it. It's basically a collaboration album with Rob Thomas. We had the big one, Smooth, and let's see who else is on here. Dave Matthews, Everlast, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, Eagle Eye Cherry. There's a name you don't hear very much anymore. Eric Clapton, etc. Right. So this was kind of a kind of a comeback, I would say. And so he doesn't want Lauryn Hill on here. And so I'm going to feature Lauryn Hill. And the Santana does a song on her album here as well. And it is just outstanding for me. It's probably, of all the songs on my list, this is probably one of my favorite. The song is called To Zion. And Santana's doing his, Spanish kind of acoustic song. And the song is about her son, Zion, who was her and Rohan Marley, one of Bob Marley's kids. So they had a kid together. And yeah, the song is about kind of her deciding to go through with the pregnancy, actually. And it's kind of a song to her son Zion. It gets a little spiritual at times as well, how it helped her like connect with the higher powers and all that. But just a great tune, and that kind of acoustic Spanish guitar on here is just outstanding. So that's going to be my feature here. I don't know if there's any other collabs on here. I know Rohan Marley he does guitar work on here on Forgive Them Father. A number of these tracks were recorded down at Tough Gong Studio in Jamaica. I don't think they all were. I think a number of them recorded in New York as well. But yeah, great album with a little help from Santana.
Did you see her and Wycliffe were on the Saturday Night Live, not the anniversary show, but the show on the Friday, the music show? Yeah, it was good.
I see she's got a tour planned, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think she's one of these artists who plans a tour and then cancels it quite often.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to get any hopes up, but good to see them on TV, though.
Yeah, you should search that out. I think I am remembering correctly. I don't even drink or smoke anymore, so I can't blame any of that for the memory loss. But I'm pretty sure it was her and he that were on together, and they kind of sang a little of their own, and then they collaborated. They did a duet as well. So it's probably out there. I think if in fact it is what I am remembering, because it was 3 weeks ago. It was way too long ago. But so. And that Supernatural album is such a great album. I mean, we got a chance, Joe and I got a chance to see Rob Thomas and his band a little bit after that came out, and I was kind of hoping that he'd do it, but it wouldn't be the same without Santana playing the guitar part. So, and that Everlast song on there is such a great song too. I hadn't heard that for a long time, and I think it popped up on something a little while ago, and that's a really, really great Santana album. And I think you're correct in calling it a comeback. Not that Carlos really went anywhere, but it was. I think he certainly gained a whole new crowd of people on that one. So it was good.
All right, Joe, you're up.
My turn. All right, I'm going to not dumb it down a little bit. That's not quite fair, but we've all been having some pretty heavy hitters. This is just one that I came across as I was looking through some stuff, and it's certainly an album that I don't know if I've ever seen it in the VC. Meatloaf gets brought up a lot, but I don't think that Dead Ringer comes up quite often.
Never.
But never. Yeah, exactly. And it's not a great album, but it's not a horrible album either. And part of why I decided that I would show it is because Cher seems to be out there and a big thing as of later. I keep seeing her pop up on stuff again. She was on Saturday Night Live, and then there was a whole bunch of video clips in some charity event that she was at. 70 plus and still out there singing Cher and being Cher and doing stuff. But anyway, Dead Ringer for Love. He and her do a really good version, and I'm a Meatloaf fan, and I like his voice. I don't know if Steinman wrote that one. I can't remember. It's probably on here, because I don't know if he wrote most of this album, and that's probably partly why it didn't do all that well, because Steinman was as much of a reason, I think, for Meatloaf's success as Meatloaf's singing was. But yeah, and I agree, Richard, that it does have its moments. It's fine. It just doesn't compare to Bat Out of Hell 1 and 2. So, but it's more similar than some of the other stuff that he did after that. But there you go, him and Cher. together doing Dead Ringer for Love off of the Meatloaf album.
Okay.
That Cher has a terrific manager and a terrific publicist. She's got a great man. She is, yeah. And I've just started to collect Cher records from back in the day, and you can pick for $1, $2, and they're pretty fantastic, actually.
They are. You know, I mean, she was, for the diva that she is. She earned that for sure, with the clothes and all the rest of it. But she's got a really good voice. And she, sang a couple of controversial songs somewhat, or they weren't at the time. They are more so now. But when she performed on the SNL thing, she did Turn Back Time. It sounded fantastic, and she was singing it. It wasn't auto-tuned like her song is. That song just happened to be like that. She can still sing, and she can still move around, and she can still be Cher, and I think that's part of it as well. I don't know if Madonna's quite Madonna anymore, but I think Cher is still Cher. So yeah, you shake your head at the Madonna comment. She's not Madonna anymore. So no, none of her face really looks like Madonna anymore, let alone all the rest of it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Tough
going to
being
go.
a woman in this business.
Yeah, it is tough.
Really tough.
I was going to show something else, but since JWG Moore wants to see U2, I'm going to show some U2. And as Richard pointed out, U2 has done numerous, would be an understatement, a plethora of collabs. There was a U2 fan club release, which I don't have, but I want to get. It was a CD called Duets, and it's all just, I was like 15 songs that they had done with other artists. So I have it digitally, but I'd like to get the full version. But anyway, I'm going to show 2 U2 collabs because why not? If I can get it out of the sleeve here. There we go. Off my favorite U2 album, the much maligned Rattle and Hum, is a collaboration that they did with B.B. King, When Love Comes to Town. Maybe one of my favorite U2 songs, and there they are with BB on the back of the 45. Just a great song that kind of, it captures that American blues roots feel that they were going for, and on part of the album really obtained, and the other half missed it by a mile. But probably my favorite U2 collaboration with B.B. King, When Love Comes to Town. And another collaboration that I really like, and I would imagine Joe probably likes this too, off of 18 Singles, is the song The Saints Are Coming, which they did with Green Day. I know Joe's a big Green Day fan, so.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
There's my 2 U2 collaborations.
Hey, I noticed you had that 7-inch in an outer sleeve. Where did you get? Because you don't see outer sleeves on 7-inch very often. Where'd you get that?
Well, this one came with it, but if people wanted to buy an outer sleeve for a 45 or a sleeve for a 12-inch gatefold or high-quality inner sleeves, they should check out vinylstoragesolutions.ca.
Excellent.
Fine company with great record sleeves, and if you use the promo code Northern10, you get 10% off your order. And if you're American and you're worried about tariffs, you qualify for a tariff exemption if you buy less than $800. So the fine folks at Vinyl Storage Solutions will take care of you.
Oh.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you. I wasn't sure where I could get 7-inch sleeves, so that's perfect.
You could get 10-inch sleeves. I got a video coming up where. What's that, Jack?
Did you work this out beforehand?
No, we just every week. Joe just works in a plug for me, so I can say I make tens of dollars on a monthly basis off of this. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I would just like to go on record right now. Today, I said to Joanne this morning that I never want to hear the word tariff ever again. Amen. I know I just said it. That's it. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Pick a new word because I'm tired of it. Yep. So anyway, on we go.
Me too.
On we go. Yeah.
Richard's saying U2 did an F-ton because I would never use that word on air. So an F ton of collabs. Yes, true.
Yeah, that's true.
Rob Walker, how you doing, sir? Thanks for joining us. Because I'm not the biggest collaboration fan, but I'm here to be if you're here to be educated, Rob, you are in the wrong place, my friend. There's no education going on here. I can promise you that.
No.
It's a bunch of fools talking about records. All right. Jack, let's go around the horn again.
Oh, man, I've got.
If anyone's going to educate, it's going to be you, because you.
That's right.
Have more knowledge than the rest of us.
What a collaboration here, George Jones, my very special guest, and the song that I really love on here is a collaboration with Elvis Costello, "Stranger in the House." Fantastic song. George Jones, I'm a big George Jones lover, but he does duets with Waylon Jennings, James Taylor, Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt, Tammy Wynette, Willie Nelson, Johnny Paycheck, Elvis Costello, Mavis and Pop Staples. So, I mean, that is a lineup of pros in the country music business. Yeah, I love country music, and this one's for Sam, Americana at its finest. Fantastic collaboration. Great record. I know I don't have a lot of country fans out there, or here on the panel, but
no, I like lots. Did you watch the TV series that the name escapes me right now? That was on George and Tammy. It was out about a year ago. Might have been on Showtime. It was not bad. It was done okay, I thought. So
yeah, I haven't seen it, Joe.
Yeah, it was good.
There's too many streaming platforms now. It used to be only Netflix, and then everybody got into the thing. So now you need to have 6 different platforms to watch what you want to see, and it's getting thin on the ground.
Yeah,
a little bit, but again, the Alzheimer's is kicking in a little bit. The name escapes me of the gentleman that played him, but he was really, really good. He was Van Alden in Boardwalk Empire, and he's been in a bunch of stuff. He played the manager in the movie The Runaways, the Joan Jett, and he was whatever that guy's name was. Anyway, he did a really, really good job, and the lady whose also name escapes me also did a very nice job playing Tammy in the show. So it was good. I think they kept it fairly real because that was a bit of a volatile relationship, I think, to say the least. But it's worth a watch if you're out there. So anyway.
Speaking of watching, Joe, did you watch the Blue Rodeo doc yet?
No, I gotta pick a night where Joe can watch it with me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because she does want to watch it. So it's one of those that I probably would have watched a long time ago if it was just going to be me. But we have to find a time that we're going to watch it together. So, and then we can discuss.
Let me know, because you and I can talk offline about stuff I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Where do you find that one?
Well, it was in theaters, and now it's on CBC Gem, and it's also on YouTube on the documentary channel's page on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a good documentary. It's kind of about their formative years and the relationship of Jim and Greg throughout the career. So it's well done and horribly done at the same time. So,
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Well, let's just say I have a lot of insight because my buddy was in the band, and he and I have talked about it ad nauseum over the last couple of weeks. Stuff I'm not allowed to share publicly, but there's another side to what's shown in the documentary. Put it that way.
I see.
So no sour grapes. Like he's still part of the extended family, and he was at the premiere, and he's in the movie and whatever. But he goes, what you see is not really what happened. So I'm interested for Joe to watch it and then get his.
And we can talk. Yeah, it's not because I don't want to. I just have to find a time where Joe and I can watch together.
You just got to say, Joe, listen. Forget about whatever you're doing. This is really important.
That'll be our Saturday night, because that is an exciting Saturday night for us. So
Hey,
That's
me
okay,
too,
though.
man. Sitting down and watching some with the wife, I'm all right with that. I'm too old to go out anymore. So
I'm good with that too. Yeah.
Jack, you just went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I haven't lost track yet tonight. This is
You're
a
doing good
treat for
tonight.
me.
Yeah. You're doing good.
Fire.
Having said that, I'll screw up the next round. So. All right, Curtis.
All right, I'm going to go for something left field a bit here. It's a posthumous collaboration. In fact, it's a series of posthumous collaborations. I got 2 or 3 here. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold here, folks. So I apologize. And you often I think of posthumous collaboration, and I would think, yeah, kind of gimmicky. It's not going to be very good. I really enjoy all of these. Yeah, and it wouldn't be my channel if I didn't show a little bit of reggae here, right? So off of this album from 1999, it's a Bob Marley something Babylon. What was it? Chant Down Babylon. So it's a whole series where they use Bob's vocals and music, and then they bring in. This was like rap, predominantly rap artists and hip hop artists from the era. Although there is Steve Tyler and Joe Perry on here doing roots rock reggae, which is an appropriate tune for Steve Tyler and Joe Perry. But I don't know how many rap hip hop fans or reggae fans either, for that matter. But you got people like Erykah Badu on here. You got Busta Rhymes. You got MC Lyte had one of the singles off of this album with Jammin'. And the other single was the aforementioned Lauryn Hill does a beautiful version of Turn Your Lights Down Low. And so I have that single here. And that also has, so it's a single, but it's got 4 tracks on it, right? So it's got the original version of Turn Your Lights Down Low, along with this duet, if you can call it a duet. And then it also has To Zion, the one with Santana on there as well. So a bit of cross promotion between this album and her solo album. So that was 1999. In 2023, they did the same kind of thing. And yeah, really like this. Oh, the other track that wasn't released as a single that's just fantastic is Chuck D's version of Survival, Chuck D of Public Enemy. Really powerful version of that. Oh, nice. Right on, Jason. Yeah, this is a newer release. So Africa Unite. This is all modern African artists over the Bob Marley vocals. Again, just really, really well done. None of these, like the other album, are just reinterpretations. They're all unique kind of versions, which is really cool. Whereas this one, also from 2023, if I'm not mistaken, 2022, sorry. This is orchestral arrangements over Bob's vocals. So it's close to the original, but musically it's different with the orchestra. So posthumous collaborations with Bob. So all 3 super enjoyable, which posthumous, you never know, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a night if you didn't show Bob Marley. So.
Exactly. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
That's good. Yeah.
I got it in there.
All right. Joe.
All right. Up next is a Canadian artist. And I knew one of the people on this, but after a little more research, I realized there are actually 3 guest appearances on Alanis Morissette, and You Ought to Know. One is Benmont Tench, does a little bit of keyboard on there. I knew Flea of the Chili Peppers is on there, and then Navarro is also on there, and he was in the Chili Peppers at the time. So that's pretty decent for not your debut album, because Alanis was a little bit of a pop star before she got all angsty and pissed off at the world. It was the producer who I'm not sure who it is.
Wasn't Taylor Hawkins her drummer, or was that after that album?
No, I think Hawkins was the touring drummer on this tour. Like he went with Sass Jordan, but then I think he also went out with Alanis. And because I don't think he was on the album, but whoever produced it was friends with all those other guys. And yeah, so that's some collaborations I knew, but then again, as the research, as much as this little piece of green paper is my research paper, I realized there was a few more on there, but I don't know if you can necessarily tell. Flea, you can kind of tell when it's a Flea bass song, but I don't know. Maybe now that I always knew it was, but I don't think they necessarily stick out that they're on there. Sometimes you can hear a specific guitar player. Like there's times Eric Clapton is playing the guitar in a song where he's just the collaborator or he's taking part in. I'm not sure if you can tell necessarily that Flea was playing bass on that song or that Benmont was playing the keyboards. That's always a little bit tougher, but vocals are vocals. You can always hear the voice, but sometimes you can pick up on the style of the player as well. But yeah, there you go. So there is the next one.
You mentioned earlier about actors that collaborate with musicians. Flea would be that musician that collaborates with actors because he was in the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yep.
And he was in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, the man's been in a lot of stuff.
He was in Fight Club too, wasn't he? Yeah, I think Flea was in Fight Club. And yeah, he's been in a few things. So yeah, most of the time with his clothes on. Not every single time. Hell, half his concerts he doesn't have his clothes on either.
I prefer to see him with his clothes on.
Yeah, Flea can keep as many clothes on as he wants to keep on for sure. But yeah,
absolutely.
More than just a sock anyway. But
absolutely. Okay. All right, I'm going to show what I was going to show last round. This is a group. No, this is a husband and wife duo that I love. This was one of my dad's favorite bands. And this is my dad's favorite album, and this is actually his copy, and I've talked about them before. Delaney and Bonnie Bramlett. I don't know the backstory with these guys, but for some reason, Delaney and Bonnie, who are American, ended up with some incredibly famous and incredibly talented musical friends. So they put out their first album, I think it was called Home. They put out this, which is Delaney and Bonnie and Friends on tour with Eric Clapton. And when we say friends, I mean, we're talking about Eric Clapton, George Harrison, Dave Mason. Like they played with some really amazing people. And I don't know, I haven't done any research, so I don't know how they became associated with such great musicians. And I mean, Delaney and Bonnie, good songwriters, good musicians in their own right. This is incredible. This was a tour they did in England, and it's fantastic. It's got that. It's in the same sort of vein as the stuff the band was doing and the stuff Clapton tried to do with Derek and the Dominoes. It's that kind of whatever you want to call it. So this is absolutely incredible. I treasure this because this was my dad's favorite album, and it's his copy. And you know, I think they did 4 albums altogether. This is their last one, ironically titled D&B Together, and then they divorced after this album came out. But talk about more famous friends. Who's on here? Billy Preston, who played with the Beatles. Duane Allman. Incredible. How, like I said, I don't know how they ended up with the friends that they did, but I have 3 of their albums, and I've got a bootleg as well, and they're all absolutely incredible. So Delaney and Bonnie collaborated with, they were hitting way above their weight class in terms of collaborators. Let's put it that way. So,
which one do you not have?
The third one.
Genesis?
Yes.
I think I have that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I've never even seen it. I got the craft reissue of the first one. I got the live album. I got this one, but I've never seen the third one anywhere. So
cool.
Yeah. Let's see. We're all caught up on comments too. Holy smokes. All right. We'll go around again. We're just flying tonight. Jack.
One comment on Delaney and Bonnie, but Delaney was one of the biggest dicks in the music business. Big wife beater.
Was he?
Just want to say, and
All right.
hazardous to your mental health because if you let the personalities get in the way of the records and the music, you might stop buying the records, right?
Sure. Well, I'm all for
side comment.
I am all for calling out people that are dicks. So if he's a dick, Delaney Bramlett, you're a dick.
He was a huge drunk and a dick, and he used to beat the shit out of her. So,
well, fuck him then.
Yeah,
exactly.
There you go. Anyways, let me just introduce something a little bit different. I shouldn't have said anything like that, but anyways,
he's not going to hear you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This is a hard. I've still got the shrink on this because it's Mavis Staples of the Staple Singers. Great collaboration with Jeff Tweedy from Wilco. I bought this for $5 in Seattle. Brand new, sealed, and fantastic record. I don't know if anybody's a Staples Singers fan or the Staple family. They're soul, funk, gospel. Great record. Fantastic. Jeff Tweedy just brings her down. Just a great band behind her. And highly recommend this if you chance to pick it up. Mavis Staples, and it's called If All I Was Black. Fantastic song.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to jump in real quick because I can, because I'm the host. So this isn't my turn, but I'm going to show it anyway. Speaking of Mavis Staples, this great album, Mavis Staples and Levon Helm.
Yeah, there you go.
Carry Me Home. This came out in 2022. I think it was recorded just before Levon. Obviously not recorded after he died. It would have had to been recorded before he died. Great. You can tell Levon's on here if you know Levon's drumming. He doesn't sing on it at all. It's just Mavis, but she's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, Curtis.
Okay, so since it was mentioned already, we talked about Eddie Van Halen on this album, Thriller. He does the guitar work on the song Thriller. But of course, we also have on this album McCartney doing the Girl Is Mine. And that was right before, I guess, Michael took ownership of all Paul's music, which was kind of an interesting little transition there from being kind of buddies to not so much buddies. So I don't have a whole lot to say about The Girl Is Mine. Other than, I guess, McCartney's done a lot of collaborations, I think, too, over the years. But there's that one.
Very good. All right, Joe.
I'm up, eh? All right. I thought Slash did something with Michael Jackson as well, didn't he? Was he Black or White, the guitar solo in Black or White, or was that, I don't know, maybe not. But I thought there was something else.
I'll Google it.
I could be wrong. I'm going to show one quick because JWG just mentioned it, and then I will go to a little Slash as well. But yes, Amy from Till Tuesday sings backup on Time Stands Still on this Rush album. I don't show enough Rush. I like Rush. I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic, but I am a big fan of Rush. But you remember her, that little thing, Time Stands Still. That's Amy from Till Tuesday. So there you go. There's that. And the only problem I have with Rush is that for a Canadian band, they didn't tour a lot of Canada for a long time. They used to play everywhere. Then they stopped for a long time, and then they played everywhere. They kind of fell into that Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. So they pissed me off for a little bit. But they wanted me back after I saw them. So speaking of Slash, on this album, which is Use Your Illusion 2. No, this is 1. That's 1. Blue is 2. Orange is 1. There is Shannon Hoon of Blind Melon, but before he was Blind Melon, sings on the song The Garden. And then I'm not sure if that helped his career along or what that did for him, because it's not real notable, and I'm not sure if he's even credited. But then also on that album on that song is Alice Cooper, and you can certainly hear Alice Cooper in that song as well. I would think that, I mean, Slash has done a lot of stuff with other people. Axl has not necessarily been a guy that has really lent himself to a lot of different things other than, getting a whole other band for Chinese Democracy for the most part. But Axl, it doesn't seem to be one of those guys. You think with that very unique voice, when it was as strong and powerful as it was, that there might have been a little more stuff going on between him and others, but that was never the case. But of course, Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, Slash with a whole bunch of other people. His first album's got everybody, what's her name from the Black Eyed Peas, sings that song. There's a whole bunch of stuff on his very first album. And then Slash also has a new blues album out where it's a bunch of people he's playing, obviously. I don't think Slash ever sings. Like, I don't think he even sings backup. Maybe he steps up to the mic every once in a while. But Brian Johnson from AC/DC's on that new one. It's pretty good, actually. It's really good. And it's all blues covers and that. So it's Slash and a bunch of different people. So Slash certainly has collaborated with a bunch of people, but even on this one, there was people collaborating with him. So there you go. That is my Slash spidering of collaborations out there in the world. So,
well done. Okay, the time has come, everybody. Joe, buckle your seatbelts because they're getting very excited.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's time for Bryan Adams.
All right.
See, I knew you were going to lose your shit. So here we go. He has quite a few collaborations. So I'm just going to highlight 3. And I'm going to do it because 2 of them are on this same record. This is Ultimate, which is one of his countless anthology, best of, whatever you want to call it. And on here is this song, which also originally appeared on Reckless. A great collaboration with Tina Turner, It's Only Love. And he's actually just re-released this for this upcoming Record Store Day, an alternate vocal take that Tina did, and he's putting it out as a 45 on his new label, Bad Records. I'm not going to buy it because generally I don't buy 45s. I have some, but why? So anyway, here's the first collaboration I instantly thought of when I thought of Bryan Adams. And then on the album that came out in 2000, and it also appears on here on a day like today, capitalizing on the fame of the Spice Girls, was When You're Gone with Melanie C. It's fine. Interestingly enough, he put out the Bryan Adams anthology in the mid-aughts or the early 2010s, and he re-recorded When You're Gone with Pam Anderson, of all people. And it is as fucking horrible as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Dreadful.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that before. So.
Oh, it's bad. So, the Tina Turner song is fantastic. The Melanie C thing is what it is. But if we're going to talk about Bryan Adams' collaborative projects, there isn't anything better than Tears Are Not Enough by the Northern Lights. So for our American friends, We Are the World. This was the Canadian answer to We Are the World. This was written by Bryan Adams. This was produced by David Foster and Jim Vallance. And has anyone that was anyone in Canadian music at the time? For example, Tom Cochrane, whose shirt I'm wearing at the moment. Burton Cummings, Corey Hart, Ronnie Hawkins, Geddy Lee, Gordon Lightfoot, Richard Manuel, Murray McLaughlin, Kim Mitchell, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's just like We Are the World in that everyone has a line that they sing in the song. So, there's Neil Young and Brian and the whole gang there. So that's as collaborative as you get. So
yeah,
written by Brian, recorded in the 80s, and it is what it is. So
he wrote a lot of songs for people too. Like we've talked about that he wrote for Kiss in the last, couple of weeks, but he did write a lot of other songs that, they escaped me a little bit at the moment, but he was somewhat prolific. I think it was kind of the same with the Bee Gees, where people were I think they stated in one of their documentaries, people were getting a little tired of them but they had all this great music. So like Kenny and Dolly, and I don't know if that's coming up or not, but Islands in the Stream was written by the Bee Gees. So they started to give other songs. Air Supply, they had Air Supply. I think they wrote some songs for them, if I remember correctly. So I don't know.
I had no idea they wrote Islands in the Streams. Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't show that tonight, gentlemen, we have failed the audience miserably.
Oh, we talked about it now. So.
Let's see.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was the same thing with Brian, is that he just maybe he thought he was out there too much and started, not necessarily giving songs to other people, but letting other people record, and he'd still make the money off it. He just wasn't singing them. So
here's the interesting thing, and we joke about this. Joe is not really the diehard Bryan Adams fan of this group. I love Bryan Adams, but he hasn't written a good song in 20 years. I hate to say it. The latter half of, as far as I'm concerned, his best songwriting days ended sort of after 18 Till I Die. So for him to be such a prolific songwriter back then, and he wrote some incredible 80s anthems, right? Like Summer of 69, Can't Stop This Thing We Started, Somebody, Heaven, some amazing songs. Hasn't heard anything like that in 20 years. So, yeah, whatever.
No, it's been a bit. Yeah.
Maybe 30 years.
Arguably 30 years. Yeah. So,
years.
Maybe the well went dry, or maybe he writes very well for this certain, sort of pigeonholed type of song. And I think music has moved past that. I think is probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Let me get caught up on a few comments here. Toto is a criminally underrated band. Steve Lukather is a genius. Yes, I would agree with you on that. So many people think Toto are yacht rock. Well, they are, but they're more than that. I agree. I'm still looking for Toto 4. I need a copy of that. But they were. You could make the argument that they were even more successful as a session band than they were as Toto, because they played on so much that people aren't even aware of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Agreed. And I just found out that the lead singer, his son, he's the son of John Williams, the guy that wrote all the scores for like Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And yeah, I didn't know that. Jack's pointing out that there's a Use Your Illusion comp of songs that don't have swearing, made possible because of Walmart censorship, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So did they take like the non-profane songs from 1 and 2 and put them together, or was that the deal?
Must have. I don't know. I haven't seen that, but Jack can answer that question. Yeah, not sure.
Tim's saying Tim Pierce did the guitar on Black or White. Yeah, Tim Pierce has been on a ton of stuff. He played on Amanda Marshall's first album that Daryl and I rave about all the time. Yes, let's not forget the brilliant little ditty War Machine that he wrote for Kiss. Yeah, and Brian just released that was the very first single on his label earlier this year. I did not pick it up because it was a 45. So apparently Bruce Coburn refuses to sign Tears Are Not Enough because he says it's shit. It is what it is. It raised money for hunger in Africa. So Bruce Coburn can go do whatever he wants to do.
Go sit in the forest and listen for the trees falling.
Yeah, probably. Rosanna is my favorite Toto song. Me too, man. I love that song. It's great. Okay. Jack, you got some more for us?
Oh, got tons.
All right.
Two of my favorite artists. I've already shown a Willie record, but
it is
Willie and Leon.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, double record. I just got this. It cost me $10. It's a mint copy. I don't have every Leon record I want because I'm trying to find a really nice copy of Carney, but great voice. He's from Oklahoma, and I've talked about people from Oklahoma before. They're great musicians. J.J. Cale, just a great state. And of course, Willie Nelson is like, he works with everybody. He's got such a versatile voice. He's country, he's pop, he's a crooner. He's everything, man. It's going to be a loss when he goes. So long may he run. And there's lots of people on this record. Chris Etheridge on bass, the whole all the Willie Suspects, and of course Leon on piano was fantastic. It's more a Willie record than it is a Leon record, but Leon is fantastic.
Jack, you're gonna have to come. You're gonna have to come to Regina. Come to the store one day because I got lots of that stuff, lots of the Leon and lots of the Willie stuff. So next time if you're here, so yeah, you have to stop by.
I was just thinking about the sale you just had for that couple.
Yeah,
I wish I'd drive over in a couple hours. I'd be there in a flash.
Yeah, we're not quite that close, despite what some think, right? But
hey, we're in Canada. We're in Canada, right? I mean, you watch UK channels, and somebody has to drive an hour to another city, like a major city, to Birmingham or Leeds or Manchester. And it's like like a bridge too far for them. But I mean, we're in Canada, so we drive 3 hours for a jug of milk, right?
That's right. Yep, exactly. So
Yeah.
I drive an hour to work every day when I decide to go into the office. So there you go. And it's nothing. I enjoy that drive. All right, Curtis.
Okay. Excuse me. Now, this is an album I know has been shown on this channel a number of times. And in the last round, Joe was talking about Rush. And Rob, I think you mentioned Geddy Lee. So I dug into my Christmas bin, Christmas cube. And I have to go with
Nice.
Geddy Lee making an appearance.
I mean, since we're all Canadian, we almost all need to take our hats off, right? I mean, that's not the national anthem, but pretty close.
Head on heart, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to save it for the end, take off, but I might as well get it in now. Yeah, Take Off. Great little tune, great little album. For our American friends who don't know, it's a comedy sketch album. And Geddy Lee from Rush features on one of the tracks. It does quite a good job, I have to say, on the track for a sketch comedy album. It's a good little tune.
it is. I agree. Yeah, definitely.
And if you're Canadian and you own records, it's mandatory to own that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time in my life where I probably could have done the whole Beer Hunter sketch myself. I could have recited it word for word. Not so much anymore, but it's just a fantastic, fun album, especially if you're Canadian. I mean, I think our American friends would get the gist of it, but it just really hits home to those of us that were at the time. So yeah,
Yep.
It's such a good album.
Yep. Amen. Okay, Joe.
All right. I am going to show a couple where one guy will come up a couple of times. So we've talked about maybe a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember. Or no, maybe it was last week because we were talking about videos and how Billy Squier screwed up his career because he did that dumbass video for like Rock Me Tonight, right? So, but these two are proof you can be big enough to do a ridiculous dancing around in the streets video, but you can be big enough that it doesn't screw up your career, because this is a silly ass video for these two together. But a little David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Dancing in the Streets. And then I would be remiss if I did not bring up Queen and Under Pressure, one of my favorite all-time songs. Everybody's reaching for their copy. Yeah, it's so good. It's such a great song. I don't think it was Freddie that wrote it. I think it was, I can't remember who wrote it, but what's very cool is if you get a chance to, and I'm sure it's out there and it might be YouTube or wherever, there is a version where it's just Freddie and David's lyrics pulled out from all of the music, and it's just their singing. And you can just hear just how good Freddie Mercury actually sounded. I mean, I think he's one of the best frontmen, one of the best singers, and David is David. But it's pretty cool to hear, like I said, just their back and forth of them going and recording that song. So very cool. And then Brian May, earlier it came up, Brian May had his album where he had a bunch of different people on, including Eddie Van Halen. I think the only other official time that Eddie Van Halen has said that he's been on an album, yes, he's on Beat It, but he's uncredited. And from what I understand, that was a little bit of the demise of Van Halen, or part of it. The story was, if I remember correctly, was they were on a plane and Dave had just put out his little EP and Eddie had done his little deal with Michael Jackson, and they were all pissed off at each other because they said they'd never do things out of the band. And that was kind of part of the fall of Van Halen. I don't know if that's a true story or not, but it's the way that I remember it. But yeah, so the guys from Roger Taylor played on a bunch of stuff. Freddie, I don't know if Freddie sang on a bunch of different things, but that's one of my all-time favorites, is Under Pressure from Freddie Mercury and David Bowie.
Love it.
Brilliant single.
Yeah, it really is. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do a twofer here. They're not related, other than to say they're women. And we got to start with the most stunningly sexy woman in the history of music, my fantasy wife, Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles. She did a series of 3 albums collaboratively with Matthew Sweet called Under the Covers, and it's the two of them doing cover songs. That's it, like just covers. I don't have the 3 individual double albums. They came out about, I don't know, 15 years ago-ish, and they're on vinyl. I just haven't seen them, and I don't want to pay the crazy price off eBay. But just in 2020, they did a greatest hits, like the best of those 3 albums. They put them together on this double album, and it's really good. I mean, it starts off with the Beatles cover "And Your Bird Can Sing." It's so good. Secondhand News, the Fleetwood Mac song, Maggie May, Different Drum, Cinnamon Girl, Melissa, Free Fall, and I mean, everything on here are songs you would know, and it's great. Usually she sings a song and then he sings a song. She could read me the times tables and I would be more aroused than I should be, but God damn, do I love Susanna Hoffs. And the other one that I'm going to show is not something in my wheelhouse by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm not really into the country thing. But the first time I heard the Highwaymen, which, yes, is a play on the Highwaymen that we talked about earlier, they blew me away. So it's Brandi Carlile, who, is very celebrated female country singer-songwriter these days. Maren Morris, Natalie Hemby, who was primarily a songwriter until she joined the Highwaymen, and then Amanda Shires, who is Jason Isbell's wife. I know nothing about country music. I didn't know who any of these people were when I heard it, but what I heard first is they covered Fleetwood Mac's The Chain for some movie. I don't even know what the hell movie it was, but I saw them do it live on Stern, and it's them with Brandi Carlile's backing band and Jason Isbell. And I was blown away with the vocal harmonies. They're absolutely incredible. So I found out that they had put out this album. And the first song in here is Highwaymen, which is a reworking of the Highwaymen song that the Highwaymen sang back in the 80s when they put that out. The guy that wrote that for Johnny and Willie and the Boys rewrote it for the women. And this album is fantastic, and I'm not someone that generally likes country, but man, they all have their own solo careers. I've got Natalie's solo album. It's fantastic. I bought it because of this, and this is a really, really good record. There you go.
Did the Undercover stuff come around because of Ming T, or did Ming T come around because of the Undercover stuff? Ming T being her and Austin Powers, right? Like the band from Austin Powers. And Christopher Ward was in that. Christopher Ward, I think, of much music fame,
the
right?
Austin Powers thing, that is the Bengals reunited. The reason that happened is because Austin Powers is directed by Jay Roach, and Jay Roach is Susanna's husband.
Oh, well, there you go. That'll do it.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, and I don't know if they've performed away from Austin Powers, but I wasn't sure if, like I say, if her and Matthew got together because of or after, or how that all worked.
I'm not sure how that happened. I mean, and interestingly, Matthew was on tour last year, and Debbie Pearson, the drummer from the Bengals, was his drummer on his last tour. Yeah. So he's got some kind of relationship with the Bengals. Unfortunately, when he was in Toronto several months ago, suffered a stroke here in Toronto and almost died, and had to be medevaced back to the States. And he has not recovered fully. He may not perform again, but thankfully he did not die, thank goodness. But yeah, great covers. I would like to find the 3 individual volumes, but they're too much money on eBay. So maybe one day I'll find them. But like I said, Susanna could sing me anything, and I would just be absolutely mesmerized. So when they did the best of, I was thrilled to get it.
There you go.
All right,
Curtis, is it midnight? Is it midnight there yet? What time is it there? What are you at? I can't remember.
10 to 11.
10 to 11. Oh,
there you go. What were you saying, Jack?
Oh, Amanda Shires and Jason Isbell just call it a day, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At least according to his Instagram page. So.
That sucks.
Isbell's coming here in 2 or 3 months, I think. He's doing a Canadian tour, and he's actually stopping in Regina. We actually get one. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Is he doing solo or with the 400 unit?
No, it's just announced as him. So I'm not sure if there's some of them are, but and then I got tickets to my first show of the year. I forgot. Hootie, Darius Rucker. I know he does a little bit of the Hootie stuff and his country stuff. So looking forward to that. It's not till October, but I like Darius, so that'll be fun. Anyway, sorry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. We have it's 10 to the hour, so let's go around again, do a rapid fire, and do as many as you want. Okay. Don't worry about I gotta be too. Take as long as you want, but show as many as you want. This will be our last round. So go as many as you want, Jack.
Okay, I'm gonna do a 2-for-1. Great collaboration. Sorry, I'll start with this one. David Bowie and Brian Eno, the low first of the trilogy. Sorry, Joe. I think were you gonna show this?
Nope. Nope.
This is the second in the trilogy. Heroes, incredibly influential records. Re-kicked, I think, David's career and his credibility. Kicked it up a notch, and fantastic stuff. I love both these records. The third record in the trilogy wasn't produced by Brian Eno. I think it's. Sorry, can you help me out, Joe?
Is it? It's scary. Is Scary Monsters? No.
Not Scary Monsters. The one before Scary Monsters. Sorry, I don't mean to. We're both having brain farts, right?
No, it happens. Exactly. Don't worry about it.
It's the one that was recorded in Switzerland. But anyways, fantastic collaboration. Brian Eno and David Bowie. Just great records. Yeah.
Cannot go too far wrong with that. Stage, is that maybe it? As I look it up, possibly.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. That is it. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked it up. I didn't actually remember that. I looked it up. So I don't think I have that one. Joanne, as you can tell by the picture in the background, is the one. I am also a fan, but he's her guy, one of them.
It's not Stage. It's he's got this really ugly smashed in face on the cover, and he's all kind of spread out. But David Bowie fans will know what I'm talking about.
There you go.
All right, next.
All right, Curtis, show as many as you want, man.
Hey, man, I got a stack here. I don't know if I'll go through them all, but I'm gonna go through a few of them.
I got 5 that I'm going to show, so do what you got to do.
All right, so we're talking about duets. We haven't gone Motown yet. Yeah, Motown has lots of cross-pollination and so forth. So Marvin Gaye Lots of collabs. This is just a compilation. He does some with Diana Ross, but the big one, I think, is Tammy Terrell with Hit My Mountain High Enough. What else is on this? There's another one on here that I like. Let me just quickly. Oh, it's all in Japanese. Never mind. So there's that one. And I guess if you're going like iconic duos, along the same lines of Marvin and Tammy Terrell in the reggae era, at least in the late 60s, early 70s, you've got Bob Andy and Marcia Griffith. Again, these are just comps. So they've done a number of songs. Probably the biggest ones would be the Pied Piper, or they do a really lovely version of Young, Gifted, and Black. Bob Andy and Marcia Griffith. Marcia Griffith would later become one of the I3s, the background singers for Bob Marley and the Wailers. Here's a reggae-inspired collab that just was not good. Just picked this up. This was Africa Bambaataa with UB40. Didn't work for me. Africa Bambaataa being a pioneer of hip-hop music in New York in the late 70s, early 80s. Not a great collaboration. Couple more rapid fire. Latin. So this is Willie Colon with Hector Lavoe. So kind of like Latin jazz kind of stuff. They did a ton of collaborations. I think they collaborated on like over a dozen albums. This is one of maybe their fourth on the Fania label from Craft Recordings. I'll do two more and we'll call it quits just because I got them in front of me, right, Joey?
You got to show it.
You pull them, you show them. Yeah, that's right.
Some blues, some harmonica-driven blues with kind of Chicago harmonica blues with Shaky Jake and John Dyer. This is just this is a cooking album. If you're looking for some really great harmonica-driven blues, both of these gentlemen play harp on this album. They're both excellent guitar players as well. But yeah, what a collaboration that is. And then lastly, coming out of retirement, I call this, I don't know if they call this blues or soul or where blues and soul meet. Big old country girl. We've got the Johnny Otis Show. So you've got Shuggy Otis and Mighty Mouth Evans along with Johnny Otis. So his son on here as well. Some real soulful kind of bluesy stuff. Look at those boys in the back there. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it.
Well done, sir.
Awesome.
Okay, Joe.
I hadn't pulled this one out because I figured you would probably maybe bring it up, but there you go. There's Tammy and Marvin right there. So
there you go.
Such a good album and just a lovely picture of them as well.
Is that a bunch of singles or is it an actual?
Yeah, no, it's that. It's no. I think it's You're All I Need is the album. So, it was one I had bought a while ago. It was still sealed. It blew me away, and proper sealed still. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. I figured you'd probably get to some of the Motown stuff, so I left that one off. But I knew exactly where it was, so I wanted to show it. All right, I'll go quick. I don't have a whole bunch. Yeah, I've got a few. First off, we'll start with Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Sting at the beginning. From what I understand, it sounds a lot like, not from what I understand, but it sounds enough like Don't Stand So Close to Me that instead of paying him royalties, they just had him sing the Money for Nothing part. So if you listen to it and you compare it to Don't Stand So Close to Me, if you haven't made that connection before, do that. So Sting on that. And then this is something that I was not aware of until a little while ago as well, until I watched the Elton John documentary. But Elton John is on with John Lennon on here on Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And in fact, he had to kind of talk him into performing that song. Lennon, as best as I can remember the story, and he tells it in the documentary, didn't think it was all that great of a song, but Elton John plays piano and actually sings. It's hard to pick him up in there, but maybe once, I see you reacting. And like I said, I was, 2 months ago old before I knew that, actually. So, yeah.
I was 30 seconds ago old when I learned that, and I'm a big John Lennon fan. I had no idea.
Yeah, but Elton's on there.
It's also the one John Lennon record I don't own. So,
yeah. It's okay. I mean, it's got that song on it, but it's okay. Whatever gets you through the night. This one's kind of cool. This is the Carly Simon is Cold album, but You're So Vain. We don't know exactly who it's written about. No one has ever really said for sure, but we do know that Mick Jagger sings on it. So I don't know if you knew that one as well, but that's another one that I don't think I had learned till a little while ago, but Jagger is on You're So Vain. James Taylor, Joni Mitchell on Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? Carole King, this album, this is an album that everybody should own. I say that about a lot of albums, but in my humble opinion, this is just one of the greatest written song albums and sounds fantastic. And then, like I say, you've got some guest artists on there as well. So there's that one. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel. Fantastic song. I'm not a big Kate Bush fan on her own, but she sounds really, really good on here with Peter Gabriel. And then the last one that I've got pulled out is a little Canadian to finish us off. It was going to be Bob and Doug, and Curtis brought it out early, so that's good. But I can still finish this off Canadian with a little Neil Young and Harvest and Old Man. Again, didn't know this till I was doing a little research today. One of our favorites, Rob, Linda Ronstadt sings background vocal on Old Man. Yeah, and James Taylor as well. I don't know if Taylor had a little bit more to do with it, I think, than just being on there. But yeah, James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt on Old Man. Gonna have to go back and listen to it. I didn't listen to it, I just pulled it out. So see if you can pick her up in there. Sometimes you don't hear these folks until you know that they're in there. Like especially that Carly Simon song. Never would have heard Mick Jagger in there. Now that I know, I don't know if I'm just hearing it in my head or he's actually on there, but it's a little bit near the end, and he's not. It's like Bryan Adams, where he's on that Glass Tiger song, but not a whole bunch. It's not like it's a duet by any means, but he's on there. And I'm not exactly sure why I'm so animated with my hands tonight, but there you go. So if you pulled it, you showed it. That's my pile.
All right. I'm going to rapid fire it too, because I got 6 here. I thought I had 5. I had 6. Supergroup. We didn't show enough supergroups tonight, so I'm going to show another one. I've shown this before, the Trans-Canada Highwaymen. Again, Joe, if you don't own this, you need to get it. Stephen Page from the Bare Naked Ladies, Chris Murphy from Sloan, Mo Berg from the Pursuit of Happiness, and Chris Northey from The Odds got together and recorded an album of covers of like 70s top 40 Canadian radio hits, and this is goddamn fantastic. So there's that. This is an album that really surprised me. Liam Gallagher and John Squire did a collaboration, I think it was last year, 2024. Really enjoy it. It's Liam Gallagher singing like he sang with Oasis, but they do not sound like Oasis. His vocals are back to what they were in his prime, but it's songs written predominantly by John Squire, and it's John Squire playing guitar sounds a lot different than Noel Gallagher. So this is I really enjoyed a great rock album. Then we got this. The song I want to talk about is not on this. It's on the CD as a bonus track, but I don't feel like showing the CD. Grace Potter and the Nocturnals, one of my favorite bands that's no longer in existence, are from Vermont. This is their last album, The Lion, the Beast, the Beat. And on the CD, there is a bonus track. There's a song that she wrote called Ragged Company, and she duets on that with none other than Willie Nelson. And it's great. Ragged Company is from an earlier album, but she did it with Willie on the bonus track on this album, and it's really well done. I'm going to call this an unknown supergroup because unless you're really into Canadian music, you don't know who these guys are. But this is the Unintended. This is a rock band. They did one album and one album only in 2003. And this is the Sadies with Greg Keeler from Blue Rodeo and Rick White, who's a rock musician from Eastern Canada. And this is a nice kind of early 2000s electric rock album. And it's really, really good. And good luck trying to find it. I got two more. This is a collaborative album, if there ever was one. I've mentioned it once before. Another band no one has ever heard of before. This is Greylands. Greylands is not a band. It is a guy. It is Wayne Petty from Cuff the Duke, who is a friend of mine. This is an album he did outside of Cuff the Duke. And what this is called Songs for Other People. And this is him with a series of guest musicians performing covers of other songs. So I'll give you an example. Let's see here. Some of the guests include Hayden, Greg Keeler, Sarah Harmer, Randy Bachman from BTO, Joel Plaskett. So he's got a bunch of guests, and collectively they are covering songs by other people. And this is a really good alt rock album, I guess I would call it. And last but not least, I think I leave probably the most interesting album that I've shown tonight for last. Graham Parsons' Grievous Angel. Graham Parsons, formerly of the Flying Burrito Brothers. This is his second and last album from shortly before he overdosed. The claim to fame is with Emmylou Harris. She is on every song in this album except for one song. But who else appears on here? Well, let's see. Bernie Leadon is on here, and I think Linda Ronstadt's on here, and a whole host of other guests, which I can't seem to find who else is on here. Shame on me. I didn't do my homework ahead of time. But, yeah, Emmylou Harris primarily, but a bunch of other folks. And this is kind of a sort of a seminal country rock album, I guess, from 1974. That's it. That's all. And there could be more. I don't know about you guys, but I have a ton more as I'm sitting here. You guys are talking. It's making me think of a whole bunch of others. So,
Sure. Yeah. And then there's vocal ones. And then as I was researching stuff, Jack's got a big pile. Like David Gilmour played on a bunch of other bands, just played guitar on other bands. And sometimes he was credited and sometimes he wasn't. McCartney and Lennon sang on Rolling Stones albums. Like there's a lot of that going on out there as well. So very cool. We could certainly do this one again. So
we could.
And I didn't even touch my hip hop cube. There's lots of hip hop collaborations and things too. So
I was gonna say we made it through the whole 2 hours. Pitbull did not come up once. Pitbull is on every album, but he didn't come up once. So yeah.
But we never showed Islands in the Streams, and we never talked about some other super groups. But anyway, it was still good. I think we covered a lot. So as we always do, we go around the horn at the end of an episode, and if you want to plug your channel and if there's some video you want people to watch or something that you've got coming up you want to let people know about, now's the time. Jack, what's cooking over at the Vinyl Martini?
Gonna do a little I'm gonna show a couple of records that I didn't, that honorable
Go
mention.
for it.
Berta Flack and Donny Hathaway. You like soul, you like black music, you like R&B. These two guys, guy and woman, fantastic singers. So I got to give them a plug. Fantastic records. If you see them, pick them up.
And we just lost the Berta Flack this month.
I am going to do a contest entry for my buddy in New Zealand, Keith from Music from Down Under. I'm going to do a little thing from Chris Profi, I think he's got a little thread going, and I am running out of new records to show, so I got to go out and buy some more new records. I'm sorry about the bland surroundings here. I got kicked out of my music room. It's busy tonight, and I am in my wife's artist studio here. I can't show some of her work back there. She's a fantastic artist. I got to give Janet credit, just letting me sit in here. It was a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. Sorry, I got to back up a little bit, so I'm not out of this.
Fine.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Rob.
No problem. I'm glad to have you, man.
Hopefully we see each other in the summer. I know that you're going to be busy for MGK's party, but maybe you can make it for an afternoon or something that.
I think I'm going to try and get there for like the Friday for a few hours. I mean, it's only an hour and a half drive for me, so I'm going to try and take the Friday off of work and come down for a little bit.
Fantastic. Curtis,
unless we're at war with the United States by that point.
Fantastic. Where are you in Nova Scotia, Curtis? Just
right out. It's in Cape Breton Island. Basically, take the Trans Canada till it ends, and that's where I'm at.
You're right up at the top there. Oh man.
Yeah.
What is that small village? I drove to see some. It was about some kind of fur trapping, or there's.
Probably Meat Cove.
Meat Cove. I've been to Meat Cove, buddy. Fantastic.
All right. I went up to Meat Cove to watch that solar eclipse that happened last spring. It was the only place we got it on the island. It was just right up there. So that was my last time I was up there. Beautiful place.
Almost as beautiful as British Columbia.
Hey, there you go. I've not been out to BC, so.
No.
It's on my bucket list.
We'll show you a time. Hey,
Joe. That bastard from You're So Vain also watched an eclipse in Nova Scotia, didn't he? I think whoever that is. So, yeah. It would be nice if we were all a little closer, because I'm coming to BC. I'm just not sure I'm coming that far. Curtis, we will be out there at some point. I'm not sure. And I mean, Rob, I'll get to Toronto at some point for something. So I'll get back to retired. I've been busier now as I'm retired than I ever was, but that's okay. It's been good. So
book early, Joe. If you are, I think if you're coming this summer, I think it's going to be a busy summer in these parts.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be this summer, because it's probably when Joanne's retired, because I think if we're coming out, we're coming for like a month. We're just we're gonna tour, I think, is what the plan is. That's gonna be the plan. I don't know at this point what it would take to get me south of the border. So it's gonna be a lot of touring in Canada for the next little while. So for sure. Probably
smart. What's going on with you, Curtis? Anything on your channel you want folks to know about?
I've been really slacking on the channel lately. But my daughter's been coming around wanting to do a reaction video again, so I'm hoping to get one of those in. I'm doing a course over, so we're on March break right now here with school, but I'm doing a course over in the days, so I'm still pretty busy with that. But so I'll have, and I want to pick up the series I started where I was going through my alphabetical kind of overlooked albums that I haven't listened to in a while, because I've been still doing it. I just haven't been recording my reaction. So I'll get back to that at some point, and that'll be about it.
All right. Joe, what's going on with you? Either you or the store or both.
Yeah. Curtis, is there ever the opportunity that there is something your daughter listens to that you haven't by chance listened to that you could do the reaction video? Is that an option?
Not yet. Like, I mean, there's the only thing they're really listening to so far is Taylor. That's the only thing, right?
Yeah.
They're getting there though. I'd like to do some of that actually.
That'd be good, right? If you found something that you had maybe not heard that they discovered and they enjoyed. So
yeah, there's an opportunity for that soon.
Right on. Good. Just store stuff. Really, it's been busy. I want to do a couple things for my own personal channel as well. I'm not exactly sure what. I may check out what Jack's talking about. I like doing the threads. I like having fun with those. Those are always not no brainers, but because you do have to put a lot of thought into it. It's just someone has that initial idea, which is always nice, instead of trying to come up with something yourself. So yeah, and then the store really probably for the next little while will be just, showing some stuff that is still available that was never picked up over the first kind of the big drop, as I called it, for a little while there. But yeah, and other than that, not much. Waiting for spring, hoping for spring. It's kind of spring. It's been good. So
good. Hey, FVA, welcome, sir. We're almost done. Me, what's going on with me? Well, last week's video, last Sunday, was it's what I've done before on my channel. Albums that I own more than one of, and why do I own more than one of them? Because I found a whole bunch more, and they were different reasons than the video I had done like a year ago. So, to me, it makes perfectly rational sense.
Saw a nice Bon Jovi album in that video.
I knew you would. But to other folks, maybe it seems completely irrational why I might own more than one. But that was a fun one to make. And I think this Sunday's video is going to be Being There Got the T-shirt. So it's going to be, I have the T-shirt. Well, why do I have the T-shirt and, the album kind of to go along with it? Because I have a whole shit ton of concert T-shirts from shows that I've been. So I'll show the shirt, I'll show the album, and I'll talk a little bit about that particular concert. I think that's what the video is going to be this week. So
good.
That's it.
Very cool.
That'll be good.
Well, gentlemen, Jack, pleasure to finally have you on as a guest. Curtis, thank you as well.
Fantastic.
Anytime either you want to come back, we'd love to have you.
Hey,
Thank you for.
I'm always available when you need a fill in.
Awesome. I'll add you to the roster. So
yeah,
Daryl will be back next week. So Joe and I will be here with Daryl, and whomever the guest will be next week, we'll figure that out. But to all those watching live, thank you for participating tonight, and for all those that are going to watch us later on, thanks for spending a couple hours with us. We appreciate it. It's a lot of fun for us. So thank you, everybody. Joe, Jack, Curtis, everybody, have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Take off, eh?